So today's session, what we're going to start with is looking at these 5 areas of how do we optimize our cash flow and reprioritize it. How do we identify this upskilling needed for your business, and what are the opportunities and how to explore opportunities within your business to grow your business. And also retaining your customers is one of the important things right now, because at this time where things are going haywire, retaining your customers is very important. And how to also use social media to engage with your customers. So one of the things what I want to do and be very clear around this is these are the not new things. I'm sure you would have seen it somewhere, you would have read it by now. All of this information must be regurgitating everywhere. So we're gonna skim past it very quickly. What I want to spend a lot of time on is how do we take this and how do I give you some practical tools through design thinking to help you achieve all of these things that we're going to talk about. Yeah. Okay. So let's crack on to it. Can we see that? Okay. So the first thing around optimizing your cash flow and reprioritizing your funds. So the top 4 things we think is of importance right now is to talk to your suppliers, your vendors, your building managers, your landlords, and look into contracts and renegotiate the price and payment terms that you might already have or not have. So look into that, and if you have a contract, this is the time to look into it and see how you can renegotiate those, or even supplies in terms of payment terms. You might have like 60-day, see if you can stretch it out to a 90-day plan, or 120 days, or whatever it might be. It's very important to look into that as well. The next thing is your cash flow and forecast. Right now, cash flow is very important, specifically for the next 90 days. You have to conserve your cash. You need to understand how you spend your money, because that's very important right now. If you haven't done a cash flow cast, or if you have done one previously, it's a good idea to relook at right now and see where there's leeways you can move some money around. And if you guys, if you don't have a forecast, or if you don't know how to do it or anything like that, we have a really good template that we can send it out to you, and all you have to do is just punch in the numbers and it does all of the magic behind it, and it comes up with your break even and cost analysis and all of that. So at the end, let me know if you want it. We can flick it off to you. It's no problem. Whilst doing your cash forecast, it's also important to know where to cut your cost. This one is a little bit tricky, because you can cut your cost that can have a negative impact on your business. So whilst I say you need to look into cutting out non-essential cost, non-essential is the key phrase here, or key word, couple of words, is spend some time identifying what are essential and non-essential, because you don't want to cut out essential things like social media budget right now. Cutting that it's not a good idea. So something like that, you keep up. How you communicate with your customers through social media. Look at other ways of where you can cut out your non-essential costs. And cutting out does not mean that you forget about it. What we want to do is build a plan for the next 90 days. So it's more of a deferment, deferring it rather than cutting it. So yeah, that's the one. And for people that have mortgages, have a talk with your bank. They would be quite lenient around this at the moment. If you're struggling with that, I would suggest talk to your mortgage providers or your banks or your lenders, third-tier lenders, whoever it might be. Have a chat with them and see how you can renegotiate that, because it will be in their interest as well to give you that leeway rather than putting in harsh measures on you as a business owner, because they're going to lose out as well. So I would say do that. Moving on to the next one is identify what upskilling you need. So that one is train your staff, train your team to use tools or platforms such as Trello or Zoom. Zoom is great. I don't know if you guys know, but it's awesome. Excuse me. Yeah, so the reason I say upskilling, because if you just get your staff and you force something onto them, use Trello or use Zoom, and if they're not used to it, then it could have a negative impact on your business, or you'll see a slowdown in productivity, or you'll see that on top of everything else, your staff won't be meeting those deadlines because, one, they're not adequately trained on this, so they're trying to do the best they can to use certain softwares that they're not sure about. One of the three that I like in terms of managing productivity is Slack, Trello, and Monday.com. I'm going to very quickly go on each one of them and tell you how and which size of businesses would benefit the most out of it. So the first one is Trello. Trello is good for if you're a small business with a small team. You want to just manage communication within your teams in a much more efficient manner. What this does is Trello, it just puts all the communication in one place. So rather than going on emails and trying to search it, for a small team, you can pick specific projects or tasks, and you can have all communication there. So you can go back and look into it very quickly. Slack is the next one. That's for medium-sized businesses. Works very similarly to Trello, but has this little bit added facilities or advantages in there where you can easily track all the text, all the emails, and every piece of communication, all the attachments that you send through, it stores it in one place. So that's the other one, which is what I use and I love it, is Monday.com. Monday.com is for people that deal with a lot of people at the same time, whether it be your team or external freelancers or contractors or people just come in and out. Monday.com is very good for that, because what it does is, from a dashboard point of view, you can run multiple projects at the same time, and you can track all of your projects, all of your communication, and you can segment that within each project itself. And then you can upload videos to it. You can have meetings. You can think of Zoom, but then you can pull out one platform, one project, sorry, and then you can have a Zoom chat within the team that has been allocated on that. So that is very good. Have a look into that as well. Right now, I think it will be a huge advantage to your organization to start looking into these things now. Next one is, think about what resources you need to deliver to your clients. So one of the things is, with this lockdown in New Zealand anyway, what I'm helping my clients is, how do you still deliver the level of service or the product you have to your core customers when restriction on movement is so much? So that's something you have to sort of sit back and think about. It. Here's my core customers. What skills do I need to incorporate within my organization or within myself to be able to deliver the services to my customers at the same level that I used to, or better? Sorry. And the last one over here is, think about your business offering and your customers in the current environment. So just take a moment and think about your customers, because they must be going through a lot of issues, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of nerves that are like just everywhere. So just think about it and try and think about, how can your business deliver value right now? Okay, so the next one is exploring opportunities within your business. Give me a second. Okay. Sorry, I'm Casey. I'm just going to give you the controls back for a moment, if it's okay. There you go. All right. So the next one we're going to talk about is exploring opportunities within your business. So one question I would ask you, and we're going to dive into this a little bit deeper later on, is ask yourself the question right now: what has changed and what has remained the same for your customers? Not for you, for your customers. If you answer those questions, there lays opportunities for your business to grow. Because every step of the way, and regardless of whether it's COVID-19 or not, this is the question you have to ask yourself at least every quarter within your business. Right now, it's become a lot more apparent because you see there'll be a huge change in terms of what has changed and what has remained the same. So ask yourself, what has changed and what has remained the same? Right? So just answer those questions. The next thing from there is, once you've answered that question of what's remained and what's changed, is you'll see what is the need for your customers right now. And that could be vastly different from what was 2 weeks ago. So you know how I said it needs to be done every quarter? Now, I would say you have to do it every 2 weeks. Ask yourself this question: what is it the customers need right now? Because it's changing so fast. To stay ahead of the game, you have to keep asking these questions and pivot your business continuously. And I'll show you later on how to quickly solve problems around this. Which is the next point, is how do we solve problems with the resources you have? Every time you ask these questions, you go back to your business and say, okay, what is that I have currently in my business that I can solve this problem for my customer? And be open to pivot. Be agile enough to pivot your business. Next one. How to retain your customers. This is a perfect time for everyone. I'm going to say this again, is look into your database. Sort through your database, and then you group your customers. Group them by the needs they might have. where they're based in terms of location, the frequency they deal with you, the interactions they've had with you, what sort of things they've bought with you, and what frequency they've bought with you. Sort that out, right? Then you'll know how to message, or what message you need to put out to different customers at different points. Some of them would be, you'll find, and I don't know, you can only do with what you have, is you'll find that some of your customers are elderly customers, they're older customers. You're going to deal with them differently than customers that are between 20 and 30 years old. You're going to deal with them differently. So think about that, sorting out your database and grouping them into bite-sized chunks. How can I deliver value to this group, to this group, to this group? And that conveniently leads to number 2, right? Ask yourself the question is, what is important to those little segments? And you'll find that by grouping them in little segments like that, it becomes easier for you to deliver value rather than a whole chunk of customers. And then stay in regular contact with them, because you find that, okay, the bunch of them will be on Instagram, there'll be some on WhatsApp and a whole other platforms. Stay in contact with them. Review your customer's journey step by step. Go back and look into, just do some data harvesting and see what is the customer's journey and interactions with your business. If you map that out, then you'll see where the changes are and how it's going to affect. Then you can dissect this part and you can do something about that. So I would say spend a little bit of time around creating a review of your customer's journey. And if you want to know more about that, hit me up later on. I can certainly help you with that. Effectively using social media to engage your customers. How are we doing for time? Okay. All right. So using social media effectively to engage with your customers. At this point, I want to sort of go back. All of these other things I talked about, these 5 things needs to be done in collectively. You can't do one thing and not do the other, because it's not going to impact. All of these things are interlinked, and this is why we've chosen these 5 core things that people need to look into, because they're interlinked. You do one and you do it well, you'll find that whilst doing it, information from one side transfers to the other, and it gives you more insight. And the more you do it, it will become like a whole cycle, like a mechanism that works together rather than individual silos. So evaluate what social media best fits your business. Whether it be, if you're a B2B, would be LinkedIn, B2C would be Facebook, Instagram, or Facebook again. I don't know why I wrote it twice. Each one of them will have their own strategy and messaging. Be clear of what your message is. Don't try and put too much. And it goes back to what I said earlier, right? Once you create a segment, automatically, if you are reaching out to a segment of people and you know what the segment is, your message can be really focused and really clear to address their need. But imagine if you're trying to get in touch with 50,000 people with one message, you're going to miss a whole lot of people, because everyone's need and fears, pain points, and drivers and everything will be different. So you'll find that you're spending a lot of money and a lot of resources in which is called fake metrics, where you at one end you say, okay, we are reaching out to 50,000 people, but the message you're putting out is not connecting with 50,000 people. It might connect to maybe 10,000 people or 5,000, but you've spent the resource or the money to reach out 50,000 people. So someone is charging you, I'm gonna do 50,000 texts. It's pointless because 40,000 of them are just going to delete it. It's not going to matter because it doesn't connect to them. Have a strategy, social media strategy, and visit it weekly. Monthly, I usually say monthly, but right now it's weekly, I would say. Have a regular update and address your customer's concern at that point. Be human, be real. Tell them this is what it is. This is how we're going to help you, rather than something that is highly curated, that looks like someone from a PR agency wrote it. At this moment, people love to hear real, authentic messages. So focus on that. Good. How are we doing on time, Jessica? Yeah. Still
you have 5 minutes for this and the next slide.
All right. Great. Awesome. What I've done, I've been working on this for a while, and to be honest, every day I've changed it. I've thought about you guys a little bit more, and I've looked at the forms that you filled out, and me and Jessica have studied the concerns you guys have, and we've sort of curated it, our workshop or our session accordingly. And so one of the things is, right now, this is the epicenter. This is what happened, right? COVID-19. It hit us. As humans, our first response is fear. This is, and if someone says they don't have fear, I think they're just lying or they're not humans. So the first response is fear. We get into, like the Aussies, you just go and grab like a ton of toilet paper. That's fear driven. And the longer it goes, and they could be driven by multiple things of miscommunication or too much communication or personal experiences and things like that. Then after the fear zone, we get into the learning, because after, and it's about a 2-3 weeks window, we're going to be in fear zone. And after a while, you'll be like, okay, no, I don't want to do this. Then you start learning. Okay, and you start recognizing, okay, how can I adjust to it? It's called it's a cross between reactive and proactive. That's the learning zone. So you learn and you say, okay, what can I do? How can I spend more time at home? How do I identify my emotions? Or how do I control my things, myself? What we should be doing as business owners or as better human beings, I think my goal, and this is what I do with a lot of my clients right now, is I want to get them into the growth zone. So the growth zone is where the magic happens. This is what I believe. And I've helped a lot of my clients identify potential within this. So at Momentum Mind Lab, we're big believers that wherever there is a problem, there is an opportunity. They go hand in hand. We just need the right tools, the right mindset, and the right skill set to identify those. Unfortunately, not a lot of people have that. And that's why we teach people how to identify opportunities within the problems, within adversity that people face. And there's a bit of it that is skill set and things you can learn, a lot of that is mindset. What sort of mindset you're in? What is your belief system around it? And you can overcome things, how you can look at things from a different perspective. Once we understand that, I help my clients. We've got the tools and resources to like very quickly make things happen. So that's what I would suggest you to get into the mindset of. Shift your focus, shift your perspective into not reactive, but more, think about it as being adaptive. You adapt to the situation because things are going to happen regardless. Whether you want it or not, you can't stop them. The people that are going to thrive through this are the people that are adaptive and see that, okay, this is the current reality. How can I create an opportunity for myself? And once we identify that, what are the tools and resources we can use to amplify it? So that's what I would say focus a little bit on right now. The next one, what we're going to do is, I don't know what. Okay. I want to talk to you guys about what we actually do, and we're going to spend a bit of chunk. I'm going to give you some practical things. So this is where your pen and paper will come in handy if you have one. We'll take you through and we'll do something live. But before that, I want to break the myth or have people understand the difference between these three things: design thinking, Agile, and design sprint. Because it can be rather confusing, especially for people that are not aware of how it works and what is the difference and how does it apply to my business or to your business, or what tools and what should I use at what intersection of my business. So let's start with design thinking. Design thinking is a mindset. It's a way of thinking about solving problems. So it's big, it's wide, it's got thousands of tools in it that you can use to solve problems. But you need to, in order to have design thinking in your business, think about, I'll give you some reference points. Think about Gojek, think about Grab. These are the guys that have used design thinking to exponentially grow their business. So it's not something you can do in finance or in marketing or in sales or in HR. It's the whole ethos of your business, of how it operates. That's design thinking. Like everything we do is focused on humans and how we use that to deliver value to humans, and what are the things we need to do within our business. How do we explore problems? How we solve problems with having humans as the center of whatever you do. So in a simple way, think of it this way: mindset plus a whole lot of tools equals solutions. And these tools could be, there's thousands of tools that we use depending on who our client is at any point of time. That's how it works. And there's 5 steps to design thinking. It's empathy, define, ideate, prototype, and then you test. So I'm just going to run through quickly each part so you have a better understanding of what it is. So empathy, if you want to do this, I would write this down, these 5 steps. So I got empathy, define, ideate, prototype, and test. How do you do this? And you can run it on your own business if you want. Play with it. There is no right or wrong way. I must tell you that even though there's these 5 steps, and it seems like there's a, you follow step by step to go through the process, within each one of them, there is no rules. There is no set rules you can follow. It's open to people's business or ideas or what they want to do. You can pull in different resources or different ways of doing it to pull it apart and get the best out of it, so to speak. The first part, empathy. Empathy is about understanding the people you're trying to deliver value for. So putting yourself in their shoes, understanding who your ideal customers are. You can do this by going as far as doing macro research, or you can narrow it down all the way to assumptions, and you assume based on historical data of the businesses, customers you have. But it's all about people, understanding people. What is their problem, right? Who are these people? So you just empathize that. Once you do that, then you move to the next phase, which is called define. Define is taking everything that you learned in the empathy phase, then you break it down. What is the learning? Okay, what is the further insight that you can draw from it? For these people, what are their problems collectively? You define that. What are their challenges for these people? What are the useful insights you can use that will help you craft your business or your product or your service or whatever the useful information is that is in there? The next one, the third stage, is ideate. Ideate is taking everything you've learned from the first two steps, which is empathy and define. You take those and you create multiple ideas. This is not about being right or wrong. It's about saying, okay, what are the ideas? What are the solutions around it that potentially matches our product or service? So you just start putting it all on the board or writing it down with your team or whatever it is. Be very clear. It's not about finding the one right answer. With the process, the right answer will come out. And that's what design thinking is. Then you move on to prototype. So from the ideate phase, collectively, you go, the business owners, you can decide what is the most effective idea, or what is the most, what is the sweet spot, what is the best idea out of all of these ideas they're going to work. Then you create a prototype. Prototype is basically taking that idea, creating it into a very easy, very simple prototype, more like an MVP that you can take up. Be clear that this is not the end product. So don't spend a lot of money in creating this product. Make it very quick, very short. If it's an app, it doesn't even have to have codes in it. It can be just a working design that people can play around it and you can guide them through. All right. So once you've done that, you take it back, and it's an iterative system. So you take it and you test it with the people that you empathize with on stage one. So you give it to them and say, hey, play with this, use this, or what do you think about this idea? And they'll give you feedback. Then they'll give you feedback, then you go back into define. And then that gives you the version 2, so to speak. And then it's like a better version of your product. And you go through the whole process again until you get something, because understand it's human-centered, right? So the humans will, the customers will dictate what is important to them. So you'll go through that. That's design thinking for you. If you guys want to know more, please hit us up. We can explain that further. I'm just cognitive of the time that we have, so I'm moving relatively fast. Am I on time, Katie? I can't hear you.
No, but it's okay. Let's move on to the next.
All right. Okay. Agile. Agile, it's a very structured way of working. It's good for ongoing projects and to work on certain areas of your business where something that goes over and over again. You just build an agile system, like, for example, guidelines to run your meetings, projects, or implementations. It's a very effective way of running that. So that's Agile. We won't get into Agile today. What we're going to do is design sprint, because design sprint is it's a very step-by-step guide to solve problems, to find a particular problem and you solve it in a very methodical way of identifying the problem, exploring multiple solutions, and coming up with an action plan in a very short time frame. We all good with that? Okay. So one of the things we're going to do is, this is the time you guys can partake if you like. Let's run through a design sprint session. Very quick one. I'm going to go through this. And what are we doing for time? Okay. All right. Design sprint. So how it works, let's run through the steps, and if you guys have any questions, please ask me right at the end. I'll be more than happy to guide you through. So what I want you to do is, you see there's two questions here. What has changed and what has remained the same? For your organization or for your business, write down two things that has remained the same and two things that have changed for your business. I'll give you 10 seconds to write that. Okay. So once we've done that, so I've done this here. What I've done is I've taken an example of a food business, and this is purely fictitious. Don't take this as if you're in food business, these might not be real for you. But what the takeaway around here is to learn the method, how to solve problems. So what we've done is we've outlined 6 things that has changed and 6 things that has remained. So that's what you need to do, is identify that. From there, you move on prioritizing. So with design sprint, it's about taking a problem and very quickly going through the structured manner to create solutions and execute it, and then find business growth through that. So that's how it works. So this one, we've taken 2. I'm going to use 2 here on the left-hand side of the screen. So for food business, prioritizing, one of the concerns are they're unable to go out and they're concerned about their health. Right? So this is where what you do is you think about what is the possible solutions that you could find. What is the ways we can help these people that are unable to go out? So I've thought about it here, start a delivery business or a YouTube channel and teach them how to cook. That's the way we can solve that problem. The other one is they're concerned about their health, use of social media, and focus on healthy ingredients. Those are the 2 things. So for your business, it will be different. But what I'm trying to say is, think of it as a funnel going. You've got all of these ideas, taking 2 of them, and then going out again and creating solutions for them. So what we've done, you see here that there are start a delivery, social media, focus on ingredients, and YouTube. And then you've got delivery on the other side as well. Deliver cooked food, deliver raw ingredients, use social media. So from there, you go and then you put them in categories. Categories of, you'll see the common areas. Once you put into and you clump them into categories, you start voting on them. Right? Say we're going to work on this 3 here. Start a delivery, deliver cooked food, and deliver raw ingredients. From there, you ask the question, how might we? So the question will be, how might we deliver food to our customers? How might we start a delivery business or a delivery chain? How might we deliver raw ingredients? So the key thing to remember is this question here, how might we? You have to ask this question for the areas that you have highlighted for over here. And you'll also find the things that you can shelve it later on. Yeah? So once you answer that question, how might we? You most likely you'll come up with answers such as use third-party logistics, or you can train your staff. Be very clear that all of this is exploring. It does not mean that you definitely have to use third-party logistics, or you definitely have to train your staff. What it is, it's putting all of the possible solutions out there that you can really look into and say, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? And the way to identify how it works is creating a event chart or any kind of chart like this. Draw it, and one side it should say effort, and the other one is impact. So that the impact is high impact for the business or low impact at the bottom here, and the effort. How much effort would it take in order for this to be executed? And this is how you can very quickly identify which is the actions that you should go with as a business. So get your staff or your senior leadership team or whoever it might be, ask them to place each one of these in that scale. Is it high impact? If we execute this, it have high impact. And what is the effort required to train the staff, for example? So it's high impact, but the effort is not that much because we've got a really robust training system. Creating a payment portal. The impact is high, but the effort is high as well. So which means that it might cost us a lot of money to do it, but we can make a lot of money as well. So it might sit somewhere here. We might plan for it, do it later. Use third party. So the impact is, relatively good impact in the middle of the ground, and it doesn't take much effort either, because all we have to do is go and talk to a third party, have a contract, and we can start delivering our food. We don't have to physically deliver, someone will do it. So this method is very helpful to identify how do we choose what action to execute. This is the way to go. And that is that.